The Zelda series started with dungeons that would confine the user. This was one of the traits that helped create the personality of the series. However, in 2017, Nintendo decided to rewrite the script. This is the story of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and how it changed the gaming industry forever. The entire concept and formula was breaking the script. By the time Skyward Sword released in 2011, everything became predictable. The game went under fire for being so linear and, quote-unquote, holding your hand every step of the way. The players, including myself, wanted a change, and Nintendo saw that. They wanted to, and I quote, rethink the conventions of Zelda. Early on in development, Nintendo started by creating the game in 2D. The purpose of this was to test the physics of the game without having to worry about the high quality of modern graphics. On top of that, Nintendo wanted to bring the world to life by giving it a realistic feel. For example, how metal weapons and gear track lightning, and how rain makes rocks slippery and hard to climb. Anyone that has ever played the game has been affected by this at some point. That feeling when you're about to climb a rock or cliff, but the rain has different plans and sends you sliding right back to the bottom. That one hurt more than my mom telling me to get off the game. Anyways, Nintendo had its eyes set on multiplicative gameplay, and for those like me who doesn't know what that means, it's a concept where multiple small actions within a game can compound in different ways to create a variety of experiences. Nintendo wanted more hands-on mechanics, which led them to produce Magnesis, Cryonis, Stasis, and Remote Bomb. This was to give puzzle solving a more dynamic feel. This fit perfectly into their idea of shrines, where players can solve puzzles but weren't forced to. Obviously, every shrine had an intended way of being completed, but most of them could be beaten in multiple ways. This continues to add to the variety for every playthrough. When developing, Nintendo also decided to scale back the amount of story in favor of exploration. Anyone who has played Breath of the Wild knows that there still ended up being tons of story and lore hidden in the game, which created a perfect balance. The people that didn't want the story didn't have to see it, and those who wanted to could. Where Nintendo really revolutionized Breath of the Wild, however, was with the mobs. They used the idea of flexible mobs. This basically means that mobs would act differently in different scenarios depending on the environment they were in, all of which are things that helped keep the game dynamic and less linear. The game's development started in 2011 after Skyward Sword and was initially scheduled to release in 2015, exclusively for the Wii U. However, due to the sheer scale and ambition of the game, and some unexpected delays, this resulted in the game's launch being delayed to 2017. Because of this, Nintendo chose to, and I quote, dual launch the game on both the Wii U and Nintendo Switch. Zelda Breath of the Wild released on March 2017 for the Nintendo Switch and Wii U. It was the flagship launch title for the Switch alongside of Mario Kart 8. I still remember, after getting my first Switch that year, playing countless hours of Breath of the Wild. The game never got old. You could do whatever you wanted. From speedrunning to 100%ing the game, it was truly up to you how you play. Within its first month, it sold roughly 3 million copies for the Switch and Wii U. Funnily enough, the sales of Breath of the Wild actually beat out the sales of the Switch at launch, meaning some people even bought the game before they could even play it. This was one of the first times you could be free when playing a game, where it didn't feel like anyone was holding your hand along the way. The game felt alive and adapted to your actions. It was especially unique because the game could be fun for anyone. If you liked the combat, you could spend your playthrough killing the countless mobs. If you liked the story, you could go complete the entire story. The world was truly yours. As a result, it won Game of the Year in 2017,
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild,
and has received countless awards since then. It is actually one of the most awarded games in history. As of March 2025, Breath of the Wild has sold roughly 33 million copies, which for reference is roughly equal to the population of Canada. This makes it the best-selling Zelda game of all time, one of the best-selling Switch games of all time, and a major part of the Switch's identity as a whole. Zelda Breath of the Wild changed the gaming industry forever. It has influenced countless game titles since its release. Nintendo has changed the idea of an open-world game and has paved the path for many games to come. And that is how Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild changed the gaming industry forever.